because my next guest is just an all-around super cool dude. Seriously, I'm just going to say that. He's a super cool dude. He's a front man for the Chicago-based band Prizefighters. He gets to travel around sharing his musical passion with the entire world. Prizefighters' debut album, Rewind, has fans begging and begging for more. They performed last year at the ALS Association's Golf Classic, and we are so honored to get to welcome them back again this year. But before that happens, Jeremy, 1/3 of the band, is here with us tonight to join us. And hopefully, maybe if we're lucky, he'll even sing a song for us. So please welcome frontman of Prizefighter, Jeremy. I don't want to butcher your last name, so I'm leaving your last name out. I'm sorry.
Thank you. It's Mederich.
Mederich. Okay, that maybe would have been my guess, but you know what? I like Prizefighter Jeremy even better.
It's the same last name as the drummer of the band, Brian.
Yes, because you guys are brothers, right?
That's right. Yeah, my older brother's the drummer.
I love it. That's so fun. Have you guys always thought you wanted to start a band together? Was this a family thing?
I've been in a band with my brother for about 100 years.
See, you don't look a day over 26 either. Did you just you stopped aging then too?
In one way or another, we've been in bands for as long as I can remember. It's all we've ever done.
That is so cool. So who picked who was going to play the instrument? How did that happen for you guys?
Well, our dad raised us playing the guitar, and so we were always around music and instruments. And when we were little, we'd run around the house pretending like we were in the band, because we'd see my dad's band. Okay. And I was always the drummer. I would grab the ottoman, and I would grab something to play the drums with. Our older sister would grab the vacuum. She was the singer, right? And my brother was always the guitar player. But as it turned out, 7 years old, I think I was, my dad bought me a guitar for Christmas and my brother a drum set. And that's where it all changed.
Okay, so your dad did this. Your dad set these wheels into motion for you guys.
Yeah. That's
right. I love this. What about your sister? Is she still singing? Or did she go a whole lot? No.
I think she played flute for a few years in grade school. And I think she still has it. I can't remember the last time I saw her try to play it, but that was between our older sister Jenny and our younger sister Becky. Jenny was the only other one who did anything musical, just for a little bit with the flute. But Brian and I were the ones who took it way too far. So here we are.
And here you are. And so now Prizefighter, first of all, where did this name come from? How did this even come to be?
Well, the short story is not that short, but I'll give it to you. I'll give it as quick as I can. My brother and I were in a band called Luster for years in Chicago. And then we wound up spending a lot of time on the road, touring around the country and playing in all kinds of, different markets around the country for probably 3 or 4 years, almost straight. I mean, that's all we did. I mean, we jumped in with both feet. And then Steve's got a long history in music as well. He's an original member of the Plain White T's. So he's done all kinds of stuff as well. And my brother and I are from Elmhurst. Steve is from Villa Park, which is next to Elmhurst. And we kind of started running with some of the same friends, and everybody was in a band, and this was our band, and that was their band, and people were playing Fireside Bowl way back in the day, and playing shows all over Wheaton Community Center, and even church basement shows and backyard shows, And so we became kind of, acquaintances with each other over time, and turns out Luster was at South by Southwest in Austin, where Mike's at. And there's a fest down there every year called South by Southwest. And my band with my brother, we started making a habit out of playing down there each year. And it was awesome. And we ran into Steve and his band at the time, which was called the Scissors. And I am good friends with the other guys in that band as well. Steve and I wound up hanging out until like 8 in the morning. We were just talking.
Just partying like rock stars.
Nah,
Doing what rock stars do.
yeah. And, you know, I told him when, when I'm not on the road and I'm back home, I play, I play gigs to make money, whenever I can. And I asked him if he wanted to play with me, at all, if he ever wanted to stop in and like try jamming with me at some of these gigs that pay decent money. And he did. And so we started this. The next thing we knew, we were getting offers to play as a duo all over the place. I mean, I can't honestly to this day with that format, I can't remember the last time I picked up the phone to try and get a gig. I mean, it's just the word got out and we started getting tons of gigs. And so eventually some things happened and this all kind of happened at the same time. Some stuff went down in my life and in my family's life, and Luster ended up we came off the road and we never went back on the road because of some personal stuff that happened. One of those things was our mom passed away. And so, I mean, none of it was planned out. I was just trying to work and play as many shows as I could and stay busy and just keep writing and doing everything that a musician does just to try and stay relevant in a business that's very easy to be forgotten about. And my brother Brian was like, dude, the Killers just came out with this album and it's really good. And they kind of harnessed Springsteen with this album, and I love Springsteen.
Okay.
So I listened to this album that the Killers came out with. It was called Battleborn. And this was probably 6 years ago or something. And there's a song on the album called Prizefighter. And Brian was like, you and Steve and me should start another band and we should call it Prizefighter. And we were like, that's an awesome idea. It's a great name. We looked it up. I think there's a couple maybe a couple versions of the name used in certain ways, only by one or two other groups out there who aren't doing what we're trying to do. So we were like, let's do it. And it only took us like 4 years to actually do it, because we were so busy. We ended up being so busy with the Pheromones. The Pheromones was the duo that Steve and I started, and we ended up, I mean, we were playing 30, 35 gigs a month. And
oh my gosh.
So eventually, here's how the story ends. And this is also where Dan and Mike come into play with me. We met them as the Pheromones, and they loved us, and they started hiring us to play their events. And then one thing led to another, and they and others helped us get Prizefighter started, and actually took a partnership role with us, and like made a lot of things possible for us to even beat Prizefighter right now as I sit here, and that's where we're at. So, I mean, technically I'm in a band with Dan and Mike.
I love that. I love that. I bet you just made them feel real cool right now. I can see them cheering in the green room. They're feeling real good right now that they're in the band with you. And I've got to say, I mean, Prizefighter is a cool name. It's not as cool as Love Bubble, but I do get that wasn't thrown out yet. So if you ever feel like you need to change your name to Love Bubble,
well, as soon as I heard that, I was like, oh,
shoot, we got it wrong.
Went through all this work.
Shoot.
We made a logo, we got photos, we got all this going on, and we screwed it up.
I know, darn it. All it took was one comment from Season to just throw a wrench in all your plans. Well, no, Prizefighter is so much cooler. And speaking of music, I love music so much because I'm not musically inclined at all. I'm so jealous of your sister. Side story, I really wanted to play the flute, and you had to audition for it in my school, and he made me take a breath and was like, nope, you don't have a lung capacity. My dreams of being a flute player crushed in seconds. Oh. You know what I got stuck with? The saxophone.
Oh, well, if you're asking me, I think that's way better. I would, I would love to know. I would love to play the saxophone. I'm in another band with a friend of mine, Andre, who plays the saxophone. I'm so jealous.
Yeah. Okay.
Saxophone's one of the most rock and roll instruments ever.
Okay, you're making me feel cooler now. I mean, I stopped playing.
Clarence Clement, Bruce Springsteen, the E Street Band, the big man.
Okay. Okay. Well, you know what? Now that you brought that up a few times, keep that in your head because I'm going to test your knowledge on Bruce Springsteen
All right.
in a little bit. So we're going to see what kind of diehard fan you actually are.
Milburn's gonna take the cake.
Oh no.
I'll give it my best shot.
Okay. That's all we ask for. So music heals though. I do want to talk about that because I love music so much, and so many people, and Mike and Dan have such a passion for music. And seriously, you guys have such amazing diehard fans that love music and that will come follow you anywhere. Music does so much for people. It's so inspiring. What is for you? What is that power? What does it mean for you?
I'll tell you. So here's what I think about that. I think it's very simple. I think I'll speak in terms of being a songwriter. Okay. A well-written song to me is something that can describe for the listener a feeling that they're having that they're not able to describe for themselves. Okay.
So
even for me, if I hear a song and I'm like, man, I know that the song speaks directly to me. That's because whoever put that together was experiencing something similar and took the time to put it into special format and words. That's what I think music is. That's what it is for me anyways. And that's what I try to have my music be for other people. I actively try to portray a feeling that I know you've had before in a way that maybe you've never tried to do it. So you can watch and be like, yeah, dude, that's what I feel, you know? That's how I think of it.
No, it's so true. I was just experiencing that yesterday. I put an old playlist on I haven't listened to in years, and an album came up. I'm like, I forgot that. I remember this moment when my heart was destroyed, when my ex just crushed me. And I feel like the person writing this album was going through a breakup at the same time. And every song, I'm like, that's exactly it. That is exactly how I felt. But I will never vocalize to anyone because I hide those emotions. But he got me. He got me. Yeah, he's so...
You end up singing along, you learn all the words. Now it's like, I mean, how many times have all of us listened to a song that we love so much on repeat and learn all the words? And it's magic.
Or do you remember it? It's magic. That's the best way to say it, because a song can come on and I can instantly remember where I was when I heard it, what I was wearing, what I was feeling, who I was with. It brings all those emotions and all those senses back instantly within the matter of a song. So you as a songwriter though, here's one. What's a song out there that you didn't write that you wished you did? Something that was super powerful that hit you that you thought, man, I wish I wrote that song.
There's plenty of them. I could think for a while on that. I could name 1,000 of them. I would say, oh man, I mean, to add a little bit of humor to it, I guess I would say probably like Satisfaction by the Stones, because I probably would never have to work another day in my life. I don't know. Something that'll pay the bills for hundreds of years to come, like anything from them or the Beatles. But here's a good one. Yesterday by the Beatles. I think that's a great answer for a songwriter.
I love it.
Enough people have covered. If I'm not mistaken, it's the most covered song on record, like on tape.
Okay.
I think it's been covered by more artists to tape and released than any other song.
Okay. So cool. Well, before we get into some music trivia, I do want to ask you before we run out of time, because I meant to start with this. So life sometimes always just kind of comes full circle. And you happen to be, as you were mentioning, you were close friends and bandmates now with Mike and Dan, that he's thrown you in the band with them. And they are such fantastic supporters for all the reasons we just heard of the ALS and the ALS Association. And they sort of pulled you into the fold but this wasn't your first encounter with ALS, right? This is sort of
Right.
come full circle for you. So how did this happen? What was your
Uh,
experience with ALS?
well, my brother and I lost our grandma to ALS. Now, that being said, she lived a long life, and she had a lot of we were a lot younger when this all went down. And my only real resource for that information is also gone. That's my mom. And well, I should say, I mean, I have relatives that know a lot more about it than we do. Um, but I just remember when do you remember obviously the ice bucket challenge?
Yeah, of course.
So when that whole ice bucket challenge thing happened, um, I didn't even know at the time that our grandma had ALS, and that's what she died of. When she died, I didn't know. I just knew grandma was sick and she was dying,
Mhm.
and she died. And and then I come to find out that that's what it was. And so I didn't even know. I didn't know anything about ALS. I knew it was called Lou Gehrig's disease, you know. Um, and I was surprised to learn that. I just thought, I knew something was definitely going on with her. But she lived a full life, um, relatively speaking. I think she lived into her 80s. I think. Mm, it's a long time ago, but thinking back on all that, because I was there when it happened. At the hospital, for the whole thing, and so it's more of like a reflection, or reflecting, back on seeing how she was and what was happening to her body, and how she was changing at the end.
Yeah.
And we grew up with her. We were with her every day. We stayed at my grandma's house while my parents were at work and stuff. We lived right down the street. So for me, it's almost like, being reminded of something that I didn't know what was going on back then. And now that I'm learning more about it now, because my friends and partners are so heavily involved in it, it makes me really, you know, think a lot about what happened with Mike Meehan, who I never met, but I know Dan, and I know that if he was a friend of Dan's, he had to have been an amazing person. Same thing with Milburn, and you know, so for me, it's more of a learning experience than anything. And to even think that I actually was affected by it and didn't really even know what it was or what was going on at the time, I'm learning a lot. I'm learning a lot because, like I mentioned before, my brother and I have been through some pretty adverse stuff in the past 10 years, with not just my mom, but some, other things too, with illness and accidents and things. And as I get older and I start to understand more about life and people and what's what, it feels good to be involved with people who are so active in trying to help other people that that wind up having to deal with stuff like this. And like I said, it's a learning experience, but I have the benefit of having seen what this does, but I never really started learning about it until Dan and Mike brought us in to, contribute to the
Yeah.
cause, and join in the fun that everyone has, helping and raising resources and money,
And you're
to
here, and that's exactly what you're doing, and you are helping, bringing awareness, and I love this. You guys are all in this together. You're doing this for your grandma. Dan and Mike are doing this for Mike Meehan, and we're all gonna keep fighting until we find a cure. That's what's gonna happen.